Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hormonal Mama podcast. Today on the show, I have Brooke Simonson, certified weight loss coach and nutrition coach. We are talking about so many incredible things today. We're talking about how mindset is the key to everything, essentially. And the other thing we're talking about is not just how mindset is important, but also why willpower isn't as important. You will want to stay tuned. This is such a great episode that you won't want to miss. Hi, Brooke. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you today. I know I was just telling you before we started recording how excited I am to talk about some of these things, because so much of what you do speaks to me so deeply. And that's just something really exciting to me when you connect with someone and something that they say or do or feel or whatever touches you so deeply and you're like, yes, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk to her. And that's how I've been feeling. I know that a lot of your work centers, around weight loss. That's primarily what you do, but something that you and I were just talking about is mindset. But before I jump into that, do me a favor, give me a little introduction about exactly what you do, what your, I want to say what your job is, but I don't, you know what I mean, what your work is. Tell me a little bit about you before we jump into this awesome mindset stuff.
Yes, I would love to. So I'm Brooke Simonson. I'm a certified nutrition coach, and I do primarily help people with weight loss. But I like to say that I help people with sustainable weight loss, and there's definitely a difference because there's
Definitely
the weight loss you do and you lose it and you keep it off for a week, 2 weeks, a couple months, or there's the weight loss that becomes an actual project that you take on for life, and it's something that sticks. And then in that process, you have new habits, you're eating healthier, you have more energy, you're feeling more confident. So that is what I help people with, not the former, the latter, the sustainable piece. And yeah, it excites me. I love connecting with mostly women all over the country. I work virtually, so I help people all over the place. And usually clients come to me who have tried all of the things. So I hear Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, South Beach, Whole30, Isogenics, which I didn't realize used to be Nutrisystem.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's meal replacement shakes. I honestly, every time I hop on a prospective call with a new client, I hear something new. So I'm constantly learning too, all of the things out there, especially as we're recording this, it's January. So I'm getting targeted with Facebook ads. I'm seeing people post different juice cleanses and detoxes and things all over the place. But there's a lot out there. And you mentioned the mindset piece, which I know we're going to talk about, but I think my overarching message is always that there's not a one size fits all diet or set of habits that works for everybody. It has to be individualized, and really weight loss and maintenance, which is important to talk about because that's the piece that helps you keep the weight off forever. Sure. It's a skill that you have to learn just like any other skill. And I didn't realize that, which is why I was on my own roller coaster in my 20s. And it wasn't until I realized that it's a skill you can master and you can learn what works for your body, your likes, dislikes, preferences, time constraints. And that's when really the magic happens, because that's when it sticks with you long term.
Definitely. Something that I really love that you just said that is so important is how we're all different, right? Everyone's body is different. And this is something that I think particularly younger people don't always realize. I think, I say younger people, like when I was in my 20s, I'm a perfect example of someone who was just like, okay, I want to lose weight, and I read about this diet and I read about that one, and I'm not good at diets, so I'm not even going to try. And it never occurred to me when I was younger that diet might work for my friend. Doesn't mean it's going to work for me or that friend or this person, that person. But then again, well, I'm not a fan of diets anyway. I just don't think dieting, like you something on your website was talking about that yo-yo dieting thing, right? Which is such a a thing that I just can't wrap my mind around. But I just particularly like that your approach is that we're all different. We all need
Yeah.
different things, and weight loss, isn't a one size fits all. Pardon the wording there, but it's not. Everyone's different, and that's why I wanted to talk so much about mindset. Why I think mindset is such an important topic, and clearly you do too, which makes me excited to even like get the opportunity to know you for even 5 seconds is exciting, because mindset is so important. So let's talk about it a little bit. You're talking specifically about sustainable weight loss, right? And that's the key. It's not just losing weight and, like you said, keeping it off for a month, 2 months, and then boom, it all comes back. That's always what happens to me, at least. So sustainable is so important. But I wrote this down. Why? So let's talk mindset. Why is mindset so important in addition to everything else? There's, like we said, there's the behavior changes. You got to make changes to this, changes to that. But talk to me about mindset and what's so important there.
I think the mindset piece is definitely critical for the weight loss portion, but it is absolutely essential for the sustainability part. So anybody can do something for a month or two and make the behavior changes. But what I see a lot is somebody will, let's say, cut out carbs. And
Hmm.
so they'll start doing that and they'll do it for a month or two. And then all of a sudden, they'll be at a wedding and the cake comes out and it looks really good and everybody's talking about how good it is. So they have a bite of cake and then all of a sudden it's this crash of, oh my gosh, I ruined my diet. I was doing such a good job. Now I'm completely off the wagon. I fail at this every time. Why can I never succeed at anything? And it's just this downward spiral of cheating and guilt and shame and all of
Hmm.
these negative words when really it's not that big of a deal that you had a bite of cake, right? I
Right.
mean, you were
Exactly.
doing something kind of extreme by maybe cutting out all carbs or all sugar or all whatever it was.
Hmm.
And so that was probably not going to be sustainable in the first place. So the fact that you had a bite of cake, there's actually nothing wrong with you. That's going to happen to all of us. I don't want to live a life where I can't have a bite of wedding cake or I can't have a
Yes.
cocktail, right?
Exactly. You want to
So
enjoy life.
you want to enjoy life. And what's the point of feeling like your most energized, confident, healthiest self if you're not going to be able to make the most of life? I think that's the whole point of the weight
Yes.
loss. If somebody that's what they're after to begin with, is to have a better quality of life.
Yes.
So I want that to happen for you. And I don't want the mindset to be, I failed or I cheated or I'm a horrible person.
Yes.
So I think the whole diet starts Monday mentality, or, that's one that I really work on with clients of let's be gentle with ourselves, be kind to ourselves. Let's not cut out all of a food group, or if you love milk duds, let's not completely say you can never have milk duds ever again, right?
Right.
And then
Right.
when you have this kind of more forgiving mindset and you understand that all foods can fit in a healthy eating pattern, probably not all the time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, because then I'll get backlash on that. And somebody will say,
Of
you
course.
just said I can eat whatever I want all the time. There's no nuance in anything
Right.
anymore.
Right.
So
Exactly.
when you're prioritizing nutrient dense, whole, minimally processed foods most of the time, you allow room for the restaurant meals, the happy hours, the weddings, the birthday parties, and having treats and indulgences. And so that's a really critical mindset part. I think then somebody will hear that and they'll say, oh, but if I have one bite, I go completely off the rails. So I have to cut it all out.
Hmm.
And, a lot of this takes work. It doesn't just happen overnight. I would say the mindset part is harder than the
Hmm.
habit changes because
That makes sense.
anybody can put a pot of eggs on the stove and boil eggs, right? That's not that hard to do because they kind of cook themselves.
Right.
But the mindset part requires journaling and maybe even putting post-its around of reminders or setting a pop-up reminder in your phone. It's a kind of a constant process to work on while you're losing the weight and then ultimately able to sustain it long term. So there's a lot that
Mhm.
goes into the mindset part, but I would say if you're starting a new program or plan and there isn't some type of mindset component built into it, I would be weary because
Mhm.
you have to kind of change who you are and how you look at things if you want to have a full transformation. And you're going to have to kind of work on your attitude and your mindset about weight loss and maintenance.
Definitely. I mean, something you just said, which another like is with mindset, the journaling. I'm a huge journaler. I don't know if that's a word. I might have made that up. I don't know.
It is now.
It's a new word in the dictionary, coined by
Perfect.
Kara Drescher. Thank you. I think journaling is such an important aspect of life in general, but mindset, yeah. I mean, especially when you're doing something for your body to live healthier and happier, right? Journaling can totally, I'm not can, is like to me a key piece of that mindset puzzle, right? It's just so essential. And I'm just, I mindset. It's such an important part of just like having a happy life and being able to, mm, I don't know the word that I'm looking for at the moment. It's escaping me because I think I'm just too excited. I get excited talking about mindset. But everything that you just said just makes sense. And to me,
Yeah.
when you're looking to make a change in your life, like, I mean, just use the phrase losing weight, even though it's so much more than that. It's about being healthy and healthy in a way that works for your body and your mind. It's just, I don't know where I was going with that, but it's so important. I wanted to ask you something. We talk. Let me kind of back up here. One of the questions I wanted to ask you was about having better willpower, right? And that phrase. And it's not really about that. And to me, the willpower thing and mindset kind of go hand in hand, but also are totally different. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they walk that same wavelength, but they're different. You know what I mean? Like willpower is a concept that, well, it's a tough one, right? I am someone who has
It
very
is.
little willpower in general in life. I just do. But I think, like you said, when it comes to something like taking care of your body, that phrase, I just got to have better willpower, it doesn't really work. And so talk to me a little bit about why that's not going to work. Why saying that is just not setting yourself up for success.
I got my hands, I forget how, on a book years ago called Willpower Doesn't Work. And it's very short. And it was based off of the author's Medium article. The author is Ben Hardy. You can
Mhm.
Google Ben Hardy Willpower and the Medium article will come up. But essentially, his whole thesis is that willpower is a finite resource. So
Mm.
he essentially gives you permission to just stop worrying about your own willpower, self control, whatever you want to call it, and instead put your effort towards something more productive, like creating stronger systems. So, for example, instead of having the willpower not to eat the 6 pints of ice cream in my freezer and sitting on the
Mhm.
couch every night and just thinking, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. I have to have a 3 night streak of not eating ice cream or whatever it is. I personally enjoy ice cream outside of my home. So I enjoy it when we're at the cute ice cream shop down the street or when I'm on vacation. I don't typically keep my freezer filled with ice cream
Mhm.
because for me, it just creates a more comfortable home and space when I have the most nutrient dense things available for me to eat at arm's length,
Mhm.
especially during a time like COVID.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm not constantly in this mental battle with myself of don't eat the ice cream, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I mean, that's just, it's not an enjoyable evening for me if
Right.
I'm just
Exactly. It's
trying
stressful.
not to eat something. Yeah. And it's not to say that I would never bring ice cream into my home. I mean, when I do, it's an intentional choice. But I think that's just one example. The other idea is, the more systems you set up, or if you want to think of systems as actions, the more actions you take, the more habitual they become. And you
Mm.
start adding gradual, small changes on top of each other.
Right.
And once you're creating action after action and taking it consistently, then the need for willpower just kind of dissipates because you've got your gym clothes out, they're ready to go. When you come home, you put them on. That right there is a system that makes it easier for you to go for the walk or go do the strength training. And it's not, you know, easier to just walk in, plop on the couch, and then, oh, I'm going to try to have self control and not turn
Right.
the TV on and actually get outside and do the workout. So I would say give yourself permission to just release the idea that you have terrible willpower or that there's something broken about you or wrong with you because you lack self control.
Hmm.
And instead start focusing on how can you create an environment that's supportive of the goals you're trying to reach for yourself, and how can you take actions consistently that will help you reach those goals.
I love that. I particularly love what you're talking about with systems. I think I personally, I think that's just something that for me has changed my life. And I'm not just talking about, weight loss or health or anything like that. Having systems in place to make it easier for you to do these things where it does become a habit, it makes all the difference. And something else that you said that I had to write it down because I was like, I don't want to forget that. The way you were talking about the willpower thing and how I just how can I word it, you're talking, you gave such a great example with the ice cream. I personally, I don't eat ice cream because I'm lactose intolerant, and eating ice cream for me is like really asking for misery. Don't get me wrong, I love ice cream, and there are times
Yeah.
where I
I
will
mean, who
suffer.
doesn't?
Right,
Yeah.
it's so good. I
It's so good.
particularly like soft serve ice cream, and that's like my biggest enemy. But
Yeah.
I digress. We're not talking about me. Um, but it was such a great example because I feel really strongly that with something that you enjoy, something that's such an indulgent treat like that, it just adds so much more stress to your life to have it there and then tell yourself, but I'm not going to touch it. Like, I think it's just such a great strategy, might be the right word, that you've made this conscious decision. I'm not going to have it in my house unless sometimes, whatever, you don't have to be super strict about it. You do what works for you. But why put yourself through that hell, if you will, of stress? Because that's what it boils down to. So I think that is such a great um uh approach that you have, and a great way to look at things, that willpower isn't the thing. It's setting yourself up for success by
Yes.
having strategies, systems. Gosh, I just love that word, systems. You gave such a simple example of having the workout clothes ready to go when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
It's little things like that. You
Yeah.
see it and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this. And then you just do. I mean, gosh, it sounds
Yeah.
silly, but I have, my workout gear, like my workout gear. Like, I work out a lot. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not very good about working out because I just don't have a lot of time and I'm a crazy person, but that's irrelevant. I have all of my leggings set up in a place where I see them. So I'm reminded, and I like them, like for me, I got myself a ton of really cute leggings that I love putting on, and they make me want to work out when I do because I love them so much, and they're so fun to look at, and they feel really good on me, and to me that's my system. And I
Yes.
don't know, I'm really excited about, the fact that you said that. You look like you're about to say something.
Oh, I was just going to add on to that. I think that's another great example. Sometimes my clients will say, we'll talk about little things and I'll say, "What if you tried this?" And it'll seem so silly, like the colorful leggings or
Mhm.
the putting your shoes, closer to the door. The things that make habits and systems easier to do may seem really stupid even, but it's all a matter of kind of like hacking yourself and your brain, almost gamifying it. And if it makes it easier and if it makes you do it, then what's the harm in that? And I think
Exactly.
it also just boils down to self awareness. It's getting really in tune with yourself. And, on the part of the ice cream, there will be people in like the intuitive eating community who will say, keep everything on hand at all times, keep chips around, keep ice cream. Then you get kind of desensitized to it and you don't want it anymore. And that may work for some people. It really might. And for other people, I mean, I've worked on my mindset and myself for years, and I
Mhm.
still know myself that I do better when I don't cut things like ice cream out, but that I just enjoy them outside my home. And I just know that about myself. And I think you can't let someone tell you, oh, like you have to keep ice cream around or you should have no ice cream. I mean, there's
Mhm.
so many extremes out there, and there is such a happy gray area in the middle. And as long as it works for you, then do it. Like,
Oh,
don't listen to what your friends on Facebook are
you are speaking my language. That's how
doing.
I feel. And that's why, that's why I said before we even started recording how excited I've been to talk to you, because that's how I see things. Everyone's like there's no gray area. Well, but there is. And it
There
can be a
is.
really, really good, happy, perfect gray area. That's
Yes.
to me, that's the key to happiness is, just in life really is, I don't want to use the word moderation because that's not really what I mean. It's knowing yourself, knowing what does and doesn't work for you. I'm like you. I'm not the type of person where I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to cut this out. What works for me, I give myself a cheat day. My husband and I, for years, we always had a cheat day. Fridays were our cheat day, and we'd be like, all right, we're going to treat ourselves today. This is our day. And the rest of the week, we ate really well. We didn't cut out things. There weren't food, I mean, other than like stuff I can't eat or he can't
Right.
eat, for whatever reasons, but we didn't cut out food groups. Like you talked earlier about cutting out carbs, right? And that's a huge thing that I sigh when I say that because it stresses me out. It stresses me out when I hear people say, well, I cut out carbs, like, or the opposite, like, you're, gosh, there's so many things in my head right now. Like I tried when I was, gosh, this is like 20 years ago. I was much younger. And I think I tried the South Beach diet. And when I say I tried it, I mean it was like a week or less. And I was like, what is this? What am I doing? And I think it's so important to know yourself, to figure out what does and doesn't work for you. And then from there, once you know yourself well enough, you can then say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I just think it's so incredibly important to know yourself. I've said that 17 times now, but I'm going to keep saying it. But also to not, ah, pardon the wording, I can't think of a better way to word this, to not cheat yourself out of anything.
Yes.
Like you said, you
Exactly.
like ice cream, so it's not like you don't have it. You just have it in a way so that it doesn't take over your life. Like,
Yeah.
let's pretend for a minute that I do eat ice cream. I wish I could. I love ice cream. But
Now
like
you're really gonna want it. We're
it's
talking
so
about ice cream a
frustrating.
lot.
Ice cream is one of those things for me where I'm like, I don't like it, and I don't like it because of what it does to my body, but I want to eat it
Yeah.
because it tastes so good. Um, but if I had ice cream in the fridge regularly, I would eat it all the time. And then I'd be like, I ate ice cream every single day for the past 2 weeks. I'm gonna have some again tonight. Like that's exactly what I
Yeah.
would do because I know me. And if it's here, I'm gonna eat it. I like to eat. I love food. Food is so exciting to me, but I know what I need to not have in the house for myself.
Right. And I think the whole keep everything around all the time, I think it's from good intentions. And again, it
Hmm.
does really work for some people.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pushback on diet culture and this restrictive mindset that a lot of us have come from, of it has to be all or nothing.
Right.
And so a lot of us then are in a diet phase and we go to nothing. So it's giving you permission to keep those things around, which I get. But at the same time, you've got to know yourself. And
Hmm.
so you've got to know what works for you, right? Like
Absolutely.
it just,
Gosh.
I think we both can't say that enough is, and
Right.
then it's really hard to sometimes explain to prospective clients because they'll say, well, what exactly are kind of the rules that you're going to give me? Or what exactly am I going to do? And I say it's really a process of self discovery. And I'm co creating goals with you because there's so many ways to get to your transformation. There's
Yes.
not just one plan. So we have to figure out what is going to work for you, right? I can't tell you that on this initial call. There are principles that I will teach you because weight loss and maintenance is a skill. And once you know the principles, the habits that are proven to work, meaning they've been researched, they're, backed by
Yep.
science, then you can
Yay,
start
science!
to, yay, science.
I'm a
You can
science
start,
person.
me too, yes. And you can start to implement those. But
Yes.
it's not even, let's say a recommendation is eat more protein. That you can take that a lot of different ways, right? You can eat protein
Yes.
in many sorts of ways. So
Mhm.
it's not prescriptive. It's let's look at the principles that are backed by research. Let's talk about how those can work in your life, but let's also understand you. Like I'm working with a mom of 3 right now, and she's also a preschool teacher, and she's running from here to there, and she, has a very different plan than my client who is 29 and has no kids yet.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
it's got to be individualized, and I mean, I just can't say that
I
enough.
am so with you, and that's just something that resonates so deeply with me, and I've always felt that way about, well, most things in life really, is that it has to be, say it, and I mean that in general, like, just has to be personalized. You can't, I feel strongly, you can't live a happy life if whatever, I'm just going to use the word diet just for the context of my sentence, whatever diet you're following, and I don't just mean that with weight loss, I mean like whatever thing you're doing, it doesn't even have to be
Right,
weight loss, whatever you're following, if it's not personalized, you can't really get the best results. You know what I
right.
mean? You're only going to get the best results if it's tailored to you, your needs, your desires, your goals, your everything. And there's so many things about ourselves that are out of our control. We are who we are, and we can't change, basic things about ourselves. Who would want to anyway, in my opinion. But I'm really going overboard here, just in agreement with you is what I'm trying to say, and in the most convoluted way possible, because that's what I do. But I just, I don't know. You're speaking my language, and I love it. I would really like to ask you why you are so passionate about this, because you are. You're very passionate. The thing, what I'm trying to say is you're not just passionate about helping people to lose weight, right? That's kind of something you said in the very beginning. I don't want to tell you why you're passionate or what you're passionate about, but I can tell in the way that you describe it that there's a passion here for you about wanting to help others with this particular thing. And I would love to know, what is it that makes you so passionate about this work?
You're so right. I do say weight loss because I started to realize every single person who came to me, in their words, that was their first goal. And then the second goal is usually something around the lines of more energy. And the third goal is something about eating healthier, or, being a better example for kids or whoever.
Hmm.
But it ultimately comes down to looking and feeling your best, I think, is how I would simplify it in just a few words. And I guess I'm super passionate about it. I used to actually be a high school English teacher. That was
Really?
my first job. Yeah, I was
Wow.
a teacher for 12 years, I
Wow.
believe. Yeah,
Awesome. My
it
husband's a
was great.
teacher.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Middle
So I've
school.
always had a passion for teaching, researching myself, learning, and educating ultimately. And when I was going through my own health struggles in my 20s, I just thought those were the years I was supposed to look and feel my best. And that wasn't the case for me. I gained about 20 pounds after college, and I did every diet in the book, and I exercised 6 or 7 times a week, usually on the elliptical at the gym.
Mm, my
Hated my
favorite
life.
machine.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. It was
Totally.
all
I
over.
always took my anger out on the elliptical
I
machine.
know. It's like you got the arms going, you're
Yes.
just going at it.
Totally.
But I struggled, and I had still a great life. I lived in New York City at the time, and I loved my life. But the one piece that I was missing, I would say, was really just the energy and confidence and feeling amazing in all of my clothes and loving to be in pictures and not shying away from the camera. And, I just had some insecurity stuff going on. So
Yeah.
I ultimately did a deep dive into research because that is what I do. It sounds
Mhm.
like you do the same.
Totally.
And I enrolled in a course to become a certified nutrition coach, not even to be a certified nutrition coach at the time, just to get my hands on as much information as I could for myself.
Totally.
And ultimately, I ended up where I am today. I got so passionate about the stuff I was learning about nutrition and health. I started wanting to scream it from rooftops and talk to everybody about it all the time. And my
Yeah.
passion for teaching kind of waned, I guess you could say, teaching English. And just my passion became helping others get the same success I had in terms of losing weight, keeping it off, and having all the amazing feelings and awesomeness that comes with it.
Oh,
Mostly the
I love it.
energy and the confidence.
How incredible is that? I just, as a side note, I think that is so cool that you had this other career, right? And then something new just sort of took over you. And I can relate to that. And it's such an incredible feeling to be like, no, I'm so passionate about this. You
Yeah.
said shouting it from the rooftops. And that, this is going to sound so cheesy, and I'm sorry, but that makes my heart sing. I know how cheesy that sounds, but something that I strive for in life is to get the message out. This is unrelated for a second, but just have to say is to get the message out that you need to be happy in life. You have to be passionate about what you do. And that is just something I can't emphasize enough. And to me, hearing someone like you talk about, coming from this other completely different background and then something else just you just feel it so deeply that it's just so passionate. I'm a passionate person, so I like feel like I'm gonna explode right now. But that is just so amazing, and I love that. So it's incredible to me to hear that you don't just you're not how can I word it? You're not just like, yeah, it's really great. I'm glad that I can help people. Like it's clearly something that you just use the word passion again. You're passionate about it, and that just makes me
Yeah.
very excited. So I'm happy to hear
No,
that.
I love it. I just, even before this, one client just ended her time with me and I miss her already. Like I become
Hmm.
friends with clients and
Yeah,
I
and you
just get
love
so,
them.
I love them. And so I was messaging her. I was like, how's it going today?
I
Like
love
she
it.
can't get rid of me. She's like,
That's
oh, thanks for
good.
checking in.
Meanwhile, I'm sure she's like, "Oh my god, she checked in. I'm so
Yeah,
excited."
I know. But
I
I was just
guarantee
like,
you, that's
what are
what's
you
really
doing
going
now?
on. I love it, and that is so beautiful, and
Yeah.
that just makes me so happy, and I love it. I love when people are this excited about the work that they do because you make a huge difference for people, and that is the best feeling in the world as a fellow coach, doing different work, but as a fellow coach, that feeling of really helping someone reach their goals is like I just feel like you
Yeah.
just take this deep breath and say, I helped someone. And I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but I mean, I do know because you just said it, but helping someone reach their goals is like, oh, most incredible thing.
It
Anyway,
really is. Yeah.
I could talk about that all day, but I don't want to do that and bore you and take up your whole day. So let's switch gears a little bit and move on to some fun stuff. Um, okay, so I gave you these questions before to think about. Let's talk about them. We've got our two questions. We've got who are three people that have had the most influence or are most inspirational for you, and then your dream dinner party or whatever. Now, I always tell people with this dinner party, or it doesn't have to be a dinner party, it could be anything you want. The people, and if you're seeing the video, you can see here that I'm putting it in quotes. They don't have to be people, they can be animated, they can be imaginary. I had someone have spirits as their guests
Ooh,
at their dinner party. I've had all kinds of things. So, anyway, it is your turn. The floor is yours. You can tell me these in whatever order you want. Inspirational people or dinner party, and again, you can have the same guests as your most influential people if you want. So, floor is yours.
oh, I didn't know that. Well,
Yes,
I
I
have
should have
different
told you
guests
that.
because I like to, yeah, I like to follow assignments and rules correctly. I did not know that. So I was like,
I should have
six
told you
different
that.
people.
I'm sorry.
I'm a rule follower. But I was also telling you before we hopped on air that I take these questions so seriously. I'm the worst person to play these games with
I
because if
love it.
somebody says, what body part could you live without forever? I'm thinking about it for like, I think it's going to happen.
Right.
So I have to give the right answer. So
I love
in my
that.
mind, this dinner party is happening and I had to think about it
I
long
hope it
and hard.
does. I love it.
I hope it does. Yeah. So I kept coming back to for the dinner party. The first two are super easy. both of my grandmas were my favorites, and I would just do anything in the world to sit down with them again. That would be the best thing,
Yeah.
having grown so much since they passed away, to just kind of
Mhm.
update them on what I've been doing and, see what they've been doing. That would
Totally,
be
right? I
really,
mean, wouldn't that be amazing? I
yeah.
totally
What have
relate
you
to
guys,
that.
where'd you guys
Tell
go?
me your story.
Yeah, tell me what you've seen. Who have you seen? Who have you met?
Love it.
And then the third person I thought long and hard about, but I am obsessed with the TV show Shark Tank. And I
Mhm.
think just because I'm building a business myself and there's a whole lot that goes into that, I would love to talk to Mark Cuban at a
Mm.
dinner party. And then I started to visualize this dinner party if it was me, my grandma's, and Mark Cuban.
I love it. I
And
love
then
it.
I
How cool
started
would that be?
laughing.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think that would be an awesome dinner party. I mean, Mark Cuban's a pretty incredible person, so it'd be kind of
He
neat
is. And
to
I'm
sit
sure
down with
he would
him.
love my grandmas and they would love him.
They're gonna
So
love it. This will be a great dinner party. I hope it
I think it
happens
would
for
be.
you,
I
right?
hope you can come too.
I
You
will
are
be
totally
there. Oh my gosh, I will sit
invited.
there and I'll take notes and be like,
Yeah.
tell you, I went to this dinner party. These two
Yeah.
incredible women. These are all the things I've seen. Mark Cuban said this, 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 this. It was so cool. Totally, I'm
It's
there.
gonna be cool.
I
Yeah.
love
I
it.
hope I
I love
dream
it.
about that tonight because that would
Right?
be fun.
That'd be a cool
And
dream.
then I would say the three people who had the most influence. I'm sure you hear a lot, parents. So I don't know if it's funnily or oddly, but my mom was a teacher and my dad was a business owner. So I
Interesting.
feel like my first career was kind of modeled after my mom's, and now my new career is modeled after my dad's. So
I
I
love
think that's
that.
kind of cool, that
Definitely.
they influenced me when I didn't really maybe even know it for a
Yeah,
while. I always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit.
totally.
And the third person I think would be based on probably the best book I've read, which has influenced how I'm able to help people, which is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Mm,
And I learned pretty much everything I know about mindset and habit change from that book. I
mhm.
reference it constantly. I think my clients at this point are like, yeah, we get it. James Clear, we know you love him. I should probably just send them all the book so that
Love
they
it.
can read it
It's
themselves.
hilarious.
But every single page, it's one of those books that I was just highlighting every sentence, which kind of defeats the
Mhm.
purpose of a highlighter. But it's
I
incredible. I'm
do the
giving
same thing. You're not
it.
alone.
I mean, yeah, I was an English teacher and I would always tell my students that's not how you use a highlighter. But that's exactly what I
You
was
can't help
doing.
it.
So
You can't help it when it's
if
that
anybody's
good.
looking for a phenomenal book in 2022, I think it was the number one book on all of Amazon in all categories. So it's
Wow.
not just me who loves James Clear, everybody does. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. Thanks for the tip. I'll have to check. I wrote it down. I'm sitting here taking notes like,
Yeah.
oh, read
You're
this
gonna love
book.
it. You're gonna love it.
That's
You can
awesome.
you can message me when you're highlighting every sentence.
Look what I did. I'll take a picture
Yes.
and I'll be like, Brooke, check this out. I
Exactly.
highlighted everything just like you said I would. That's so
Especially
funny.
if you're a big lover of systems. I got
Hmm.
that term from him. I mean, he loves himself a system. So
Yeah.
when
That's so
you're reading
cool.
it, you're going to love it.
I can't wait. I'm psyched. You hear that, everybody? You should be psyched too.
Yeah.
So, Brooke, my very last question here for you is tell me where our listeners can find you. Where can they connect with you?
Pretty easy. My website is thehealthinvestment.com. And I'm on Instagram also at the health investment. Those are the places. The website kind of has everything. I'm most active on Instagram of all social media. And I would love if you heard this to message me on Instagram. I just love connecting with people. I think they always will write to me and say, sorry, not to bother. But I love it because I want social media to be more social and I want to kind of meet my followers, air quotes, meet
Yes.
them.
I totally
So
know what you
please
mean.
introduce yourself and let me know what was the biggest takeaway you had, or if you have a question or anything, I'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Awesome. I just want to tell you real quick that I love your business name. I meant to tell you
Huh.
that earlier when I saw your website. I was like, the health investment. I mean, brilliant. I just love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
I actually spent an entire class. This shows how checked out of teaching I was. The kids were all working on something and I was just brainstorming business names and
And you're
I
like,
came
I
up
got
with it
something.
in like the middle of fifth period one day.
And you were like,
This could be my business.
yes, I love
Yeah, I was
it.
like, I got to
I
get
think
out
it's
of here. I
great.
got to get out of this classroom.
You just knew.
I have things to do.
Yes. And look what you're doing. You're changing
Yeah, yeah.
lives. And there's nothing better than that. Brooke,
Oh, thanks.
I just want to thank you so much for being with me today. I am so excited to get your message out there. I think the work that you do is so incredible. It's so, I'm going to use the word unique. Your approach is unique, and it is exactly, I think, what people need is a personalized approach to just change their life. And I love that.
Thank you for saying that. That's such kind words. And thank you for having me. It's honestly, I've been on multiple podcasts, but don't tell any of the other hosts. This one's been the most fun.
Oh, yay. That makes me so happy. Here I am like, I'm going to go throw confetti in the air. I'm so excited. Well, thank you for saying that, Brooke. I really, really appreciate that. And I've had a great time too. So I'm psyched. We'll have to do this again.
Yes, for sure. Thanks, Kara.